The British animation studio known as Aardman had delivered us some pretty fun-filled stuff direct from England here to the US. Before they even gave us stuff like Chicken Run or Arthur Christmas or even Early Man, they gave us this here duo of a man and his dog who are, well, apparently a real comic team. And can you believe it's been 20 years that after several specials, they got their very first ever feature length motion picture? Here it is. This is my review of Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. This is Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. I'm the Big D, and this time around, I bring to you a review of the 2005 animated comedy flick Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, released by DreamWorks along with Aardman Animations, their second full-length feature film after Chicken Run. This was released 5 years after Chicken Run, and the fourth overall installment in the Wallace and Gromit series, and the first to be feature length, following three short, well, specials that I have seen, which were A Grand Day Out, The Wrong Trousers, and A Close Shave. Anyway, the film was directed by Nick Park and Steve Box, who also wrote the script with Mark Burton and Bob Baker. The film is a parody of classic monster movies, and the film centers on the good-natured yet eccentric inventor of Wallace and his intelligent but mute dog Gromit in their latest venture as pest control agents. They come to the rescue of their town, which is plagued by rabbits, before the annual giant vegetable competition. However, the duo soon find themselves battling a giant rabbit, which is consuming the town's crops. Now, for the film, they actually did bring back here the well, just a second here, stand by. Sorry about that, I had to check my source. Peter Sallis once again representing his role as Wallace from the specials, along with the voices of Helena Bonham Carter, Ray Fiennes, and Peter Kay. The film was released in the US on this day, October 7th, 2005. Henceforth, today's the film's 20th anniversary after it made its premiere in Sydney a month prior. It premiered in the UK a week after it was released in the US. Well, now, although DreamWorks and Aardman wanted to do something else before this, they came up with this. But anyway, I'll tell you more about it. It eventually got itself some awards as well. Well, let's get into the story before we get into anything else. With Tyington Hall's annual giant vegetable competition looming, Wallace and Gromit run Antipesto, a humane pest control business aimed at protecting the townspeople's vegetables from rabbits. After capturing rabbits from the garden of Lady Tyington, Wallace uses his newest invention, the mind manipulation-o-matic, in an attempt to brainwash them into disliking vegetables, but ends up fusing his brain with one of the rabbits, and Gromit destroys the mind-o-matic, and the rabbit, now averse to vegetables, is named Hutch and placed in a cage. That night, a were-rabbit wreaks havoc on the town's gardens. During a town meeting the next day, Hunter Victor Quartermine volunteers to kill the creature, but Tyington persuades the townsfolk to give Antipesto another chance. Following an unsuccessful effort to trap the were-rabbit, Wallace and Gromit find that Hutch has mutated, leading Wallace to the conclusion that Hutch is the beast. However, Gromit discovers a pile of half-eaten vegetables in Wallace's bedroom and realizes that Wallace is the real culprit. After celebrating his triumph with Tyington, Wallace is confronted by Victor, who vies for Tyington's affections and wealth. Wallace, and Victor, now seeing the perfect chance to eliminate his rival, acquires 3 golden bullets from the town's eccentric vicar to use against Wallace. On the day of the vegetable competition, Wallace and Gromit discover that Hutch now possesses Wallace's human traits. Upon learning that the Wallace is still at large, Tyington reluctantly agrees to let Victor kill it. When Wallace transforms again, Victor arrives and attempts to shoot him, but Gromit intervenes. Victor locks Gromit in a cage, but Gromit escapes with the help of Hutch, and they devise a plan to save Wallace. Now for the ending, you know the procedure. You've got 5 seconds to sub this video at once. Go to the description box below and fast forward to the time below as I count down. Now, if you've seen this movie already, please continue. Okay, you've been warned. At the competition, Victor seizes the golden carrot trophy to use as ammunition after exhausting his golden bullets. Gromit subdues Victor's dog, Philip, in a dogfight using aeroplanes from a fairground ride. As Victor aims at Wallace, Gromit uses his plane to deflect the golden carrot. The plane begins to fall, and Wallace leaps to catch Gromit. They both land in a cheese tent, and Gromit disguises Victor as the Wallace, leading the townspeople to chase him away. Wallace morphs back to his human form and appears dead, but Gromit revives him with a stinking bishop cheese. Gromit receives the golden carrot for his bravery, and Tonnington converts the grounds of Tonnington Hall into a sanctuary for Hutch and the other rabbits. End of story. So what did I think of Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit? Well, I'm going to say it's a nice little film and what have you. Now, considering I had seen the first 3 Wallace and Gromit specials, which of course they started with A Grand Day Out and then The Wrong Trousers and A Close Shave, I have to say this film is not too bad. Now, of course, even though I have yet to see the 4th one, which came out 3 years after this, in a matter, which is called Wallace and Gromit in a Matter of Loaf and Death, I will look into that, and I will think of trying to review all those specials later on down the road. Still, I have to say it's pretty good. Now, originally, DreamWorks and Armin announced that their next co-production after Chicken Run was to be The Tortoise and the Hare, and a feature-length Wallace and Gromit film. However, The Tortoise and the Hare was abandoned due to script issues, while Wallace and Gromit film officially began production in September 2003. Well, during production, Park was sent several notes by DreamWorks requesting to make changes to the film to appeal more to contemporary American audiences. This included changing the film's initial subtitle, The Great Vegetable Plot, to The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. Anyway, upon its release, the film unfortunately was a slight disappointment at the box office in the US for DreamWorks, though it was more successful overseas, going on to make $192 million on its $30 million budget. Anyway, yes, as the film only managed to make $56 million here in the US. So it was a slight disappointment where it lost to the remake of The Fog. To this day, it remains the second highest grossing stop motion animated film of all time behind Chicken Run. However, despite being a failure at the box office here in the US, it did win the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature that year. That's right. Being out Tim Burton's Corpse Bride and Howl's Moving Castle, which eventually became DreamWorks' second film to actually win that award after Shrek. Apparently, after all these years, they've never had another win again. they've come close, but due to other animation studios, which I really won't bring up names, they just haven't had a chance. It also got a BAFTA award for Best British Film. The reviews were actually really good. It sits at 95% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, where they say the film is a subtly touching and wonderfully eccentric adventure featuring Wallace and Gromit. Metacritic has a score of 87, but however, audiences pulled by CinemaScore give it a B+. It won lots of Annie Awards as well for Best Animated Feature, Animated Effects, Character Animation, and others. It won 10 of its 16 nominations. It also won Best Feature Film at the British Academy Children's Awards and Best Comedy Film at the British Comedy Awards. It even won Best Animated Feature at the Critics' Choice Awards. So anyway, yeah, eventually it was pretty big. Empire ranked it 51st on their list of the 100 best British films, saying the sparkling Curse of the Were-Rabbit positively brims with ideas and energy, dazzling movie fans with sly references to everything from Hammer horrors and The Incredible Hulk to King Kong and Top Gun, and bounds along like a hound in a hurry. The plot pitches the famously taciturn, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that word, Dogwarts alumnus and his Wensleydale chomping owner against the dastardly Victor Quartermain, taking mutating bunnies, prize-winning marrows, and the posh as biscuits Lady Tyngton along for the ride. In short, it's the most marvelously English animation there is. I agree. Yeah, this film's fun. Well, I mostly prefer Chicken Run over this, but however, I still think it's a nice film. I mean, I really think this was great and what have you. I think this is probably easily one of the most underrated DreamWorks animation films of them all. They did bring on board Julian Nutt, who actually did the scores for the prior Wallace and Gromit shorts for this and did an exceptionally good job. For our voice acting cast, we have Peter Sallis voicing Wallace. Like before, he does a great job. He also provides a voice for Hutch. Very good. Now, now voicing Lord Victor Quartermain is Ray Fiennes, who just after this will go on to play the newly reborn Lord Voldemort in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Really something. Helena Bonham Carter, who recently voiced the titular character of Tim Burton's Corpse Bride, released just a few weeks before this, voiced Lady Tyngton. She's not too bad. Peter Kay voices Police Constable Albert McIntosh. Very good. Nicholas Smith as Reverend Clement Hodges. Very good. And there's many others. So you got to admit the voice acting cast is really good. So with everything said, I think Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, while being one of the most underrated DreamWorks animation releases in my opinion, I think it's still worth a watch. So would I recommend it? I'd say definitely. Sure, go ahead. It's kind of a draw. I'd say definitely if you liked the Wallace and Gromit shorts. Now, of course, more recently, Aardman brought the duo back in Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul, which was released before last year was over with, and I have yet to see that film since it came to Netflix. But rest assured, I will possibly check out and review that later on as well. So, what did you think of Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, consider clicking the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to help support my channel, and you know the rest. So yes, I am going to tell you that this movie's good. Great characters, great cast, great animation score, everything. This was real good. Okay. That's all I can say, and that was just what I would usually say before I just said what I said to subscribe. Anyway, join me later tonight when I do my spoiler-free review of The Smashing Machine. So if you like this, check out my reviews for these other films from Aardman I had recently done. In the upper left-hand corner is my review of Chicken Run from 2000. The upper right-hand corner is my review of its Netflix sequel, Dawn of the Nugget. Or if you'd like, go to the bottom left-hand corner and see my review for their holiday themed film. Well, actually, more their Christmas themed film in Arthur Christmas. And the bottom right hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe if you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc. Then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.